Dear friends, welcome to another episode of The Informant. In today's video, we bring you a grave warning from Belarusian dictator Alexander Lukashenko, who declared that any attack on his country would ignite World War III. But before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. In recent weeks, Belarusian authorities have voiced concerns over the presence of Ukrainian troops at their border and the military buildup in Poland. On Tuesday, September 17th, Alexander Lukashenko made a shocking statement at a forum in Minsk, asserting that if Belarus were attacked, it would lead to the start of World War III. He emphasized that he wasn't exaggerating or bluffing. Lukashenko also warned that Belarus's peaceful nature shouldn't be mistaken for weakness, stressing that his country is ready to respond decisively. He underscored Belarus's strategic location at the heart of Europe, a region historically marred by conflicts, and vowed to do everything possible to prevent another war on Belarusian soil. But why did Lukashenko make this bold claim? And why should the world take it seriously? To answer that, we need to understand Belarus's role in relation to Russia. The connection between these two countries dates back to 1796, when Empress Catherine the Great of Russia acquired the territories from the former Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Throughout the 19th century, a significant Russification process began, aiming to erase Belarusian culture and language in favor of Russian dominance. In 1918, during the negotiations for the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, a peace treaty between Soviet Russia and Germany that ended Russia's involvement in World War I, Belarus declared its independence under the protection of the German Empire. Thus, the Belarusian Democratic Republic was born in March of that year. However, it was short-lived. By 1919, the Soviet Union annexed the region and established the Belarusian Soviet Socialist Republic. Belarus's strategic value became apparent during World War II when German forces, invading the Soviet Union, had to pass through Belarus. The country played a critical role in delaying the German advance on Moscow, giving Stalin time to bring reinforcements that ultimately saved the Russian capital in December 1941. After the war, Stalin further solidified Belarus's role as a buffer state, turning it into a heavily fortified zone to deter NATO from invading Russia. The region was isolated from the West, with successive Soviet leaders continuing to push Russification efforts, suppressing Belarusian culture and language. By July 1990, as the Soviet Union began to crumble, Belarus took its first steps toward independence, officially changing its name to the Republic of Belarus in April 1991. In 1994, after a constitutional reform, the country held its first and only truly free presidential election, in which Alexander Lukashenko, a young populist politician at the time, won by promising to fight corruption. However, that was the last fair election. Lukashenko has since rigged every subsequent election, maintaining his grip on power for 30 years through brutal repression of opposition, media control, and the manipulation of state institutions, particularly the courts. This is why Lukashenko is widely recognized today as a dictator. His relationship with Vladimir Putin's Russia is one of complete subservience. In 2020, widespread protests threatened Lukashenko's rule, but Putin's support helped him cling to power. In return, Belarus has become a de facto extension of Russia, strategically positioned on NATO's doorstep with a vast border to Ukraine's north. Lukashenko's loyalty to Putin is so extreme that he allowed Russian military bases on Belarusian soil for the invasion of Ukraine. Over 20,000 Russian troops launched their assault on Kyiv from Belarus. However, in a rare moment of restraint, Lukashenko has not sent Belarusian forces into the war, meaning his country isn't directly involved in the conflict. Still, his allegiance to Putin and the presence of Russian troops in Belarus force Ukraine to station tens of thousands of soldiers along their shared border. Lukashenko's concern about a possible Ukrainian invasion is growing. Putin shares this worry, as Belarus's weak military wouldn't stand a chance on its own. If Belarus were attacked, Lukashenko could fall from power, potentially replaced by a pro-Western leader, something Putin cannot afford. In 2023, to ensure Lukashenko's regime remains intact, Putin deployed nuclear weapons to Belarus, including mobile launchers and Iskander missiles. Estimates suggest there are at least 60 Russian nuclear warheads in Belarus, a clear signal from Putin that he's ready to use them if Lukashenko's rule is threatened. Given Belarus's importance to Russia, both in the context of the invasion of Ukraine and as a buffer against NATO, Putin is prepared to go to extreme lengths to protect Lukashenko. The presence of nuclear weapons in Belarus is a stark reminder that any attack on the country could indeed trigger a global conflict. Lukashenko's warning is not an empty threat. If his nation is invaded, the risk of World War III is real, and it's a warning the world must take seriously. If you value independent journalism and want to support our work, consider buying us a coffee through the QR code on the screen. Your contribution is essential for us to continue bringing quality analysis and information. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest analyses and insights on the world's most urgent geopolitical issues.
Американцы указали Киеву, если сложатся обстоятельства, атаковать нашу инфраструктуру по южной границе. Причина – российские беспилотники летают над территорией, рядом с территорией Беларуси. И я хочу спросить у американцев, вы мира хотите, мирных переговоров или эскалации ситуации? Я не зря это спрашиваю, потому что они в последнее время очень часто намекали нам о переговорах. И даже выдвинули условия к этим переговорам. Мы согласились. А как тогда это понимать? Но я хочу просто в связи с этим предупредить наших противников, наших соперников и тех, кто не понимает еще. Не надо этого делать. Это пойдет не на пользу не только региону Европы, но и всей планете. Нападение на Беларусь, запомните это, это Третья мировая война.